Hello, everyone, and welcome to Silver Shell's Bling Party. It is a beautiful Thursday, April 22nd, and I am Silver Shells.
Cindy Jenkins.
And we are
the Bling Sisters.
Oh my gosh. All right, hold on.
I almost forgot.
Seems
Seems like so long since we've been here.
I know, last week. Happy Earth Day also, everyone. Yeah, we just wanted to give a shout out to the Earth.
Yeah, let's do it every day.
Yeah, okay. Every day can be Earth Day. So, Cindy and I are two women who have interactive chats with entertainers, actors, musicians from around the world, producers, promoters, guitarists, bassists, harmonica players.
If it's in the arts, we're on it.
Comedians. We are on it. Upcoming, we have Annie Sampson, Frank Greenfield, Nick Otis, and James Nash.
Yo, Nick Otis.
Yay, Nick.
We love Nick.
I know. He was John's brother. He is John's brother.
He still is, yeah.
Well, yeah, he is.
Yeah, he hasn't
still
stopped.
around. But tonight we have a special treat. Our theme song was written by Tony Saunders, and this gentleman wrote his town's theme song.
Wow, I didn't know that.
So that's pretty interesting. Our guest number 109 is Henry Turner, and he is a native Baton Rougean.
Baton Rouge.
Baton Rougean or something like Californian. No, or we're on.
No.
Okay, all right.
No, it doesn't work.
He's a musician, a vocalist, guitar player, composer, producer, and promoter. He has a band called Flavor, and they are an integral part of the Louisiana music scene. He's the founder of Hit City Digital Records. He's involved in 2 documentaries. He has at least 20 singles, 11 albums out, and he is an honorary Louisiana musical ambassador.
Wow.
And so welcome. Number 109.
Number 109. We'll call you Henry.
Henry Turner Jr.
Welcome.
Yay, welcome. How are you?
I'm awesome.
Good.
I can't see myself on the screen, but
That's all right.
All right.
You're there. We can see you.
Yes, we know you're there. We can testify for it.
All right,
Testify.
Oh my gosh.
I'm awesome, though. I'm doing great.
Excellent.
Looking over the things you're doing, you're very, very involved in your community, your musical community, and that's wonderful to see. Right?
Thank you.
Theme song. So you were Baton Rouge is where your roots are.
Absolutely.
And
Born and raised Baton Rouge.
Born and raised. Have you moved anywhere else? Have you lived elsewhere?
I toured for 25 years, so I felt like I moved across the country.
But
were you ever tempted by any place?
Yeah, the Great Northwest really blew my mind.
Montana?
The whole Northwest.
No, Northwest.
Oh.
Washington.
Yeah.
Oh, Washington, okay.
Oregon.
Washington, Oregon, all that really blew my mind. I was very tempted,
It's lovely there.
But then you come back. So when you were young, how did you get started on your musical journey? Were your parents involved in music, or one of your siblings?
My mother sang in a church choir.
Okay.
All of her young life and adult life and all of that, and we grew up singing in the house. Me and my sister sang with my mother all the time. It was second nature just to sing a bunch of songs around the house. But my first love was drumming.
Okay.
And I beat up a lot of sofa cushions and a lot of chairs. And I remember my mother and father told me that when I was a crawling baby, I would crawl over to the area where the pots and pans were and pull them out and just bang on them. And at first they thought I was just kind of like making noise until they noticed a pattern.
You're doing a rhythm?
Well, they noticed that I would go over and pull them out and put them in a certain arrangement and just kind of bang on them a certain way.
Uh-huh.
And it was like, wow, I think he's trying to play drums or something.
Right.
So it was my first love. But then the guitar was calling me all the time, and then there were my father was a former club owner. By the time I was born in 1960, he had already retired from all of that and was like a painter, and he did a lot of contracting and stuff. But he had a lot of friends from the from his club experiences, and he rented some rooms to some of them. We
Okay.
would always have like a rental room behind our house or something or whatever, and we had people like Arthur Guitar Kelly that would live in those rooms. He was like an old school folk guitar guy. We had like a guy by the name of Woodrow Brown,
Uh-huh.
called Snookum, and Snookum was a guitar player. So I, I kind of gravitated toward the guitar as well, and I had my first experiences with them. Just trying to play their instrument. They let me play, and I grew a love for it. And by the time I was 6 or 7, I was, getting my first guitar from Western Auto.
Oh my God.
Now,
Oh,
6 or 7, did you get a 3/4 size or a full size guitar?
Full size
full
acoustic guitar.
size.
Wow.
Acoustic.
My father had an account at Western Auto, and I used to
Oh,
drive him crazy. We'd go over to get like inner tubes and tires for, then for the lawnmowers, the big push lawnmowers and bicycles and stuff like that. And I saw those guitars, and I was driving crazy till finally one day he said, "All right, let's get one." So
so
we
was it
got
like
one.
the drums? You sat down and started playing, and were you gifted musically? Do you feel you were gifted as a child?
Um, I feel like certain musicians are born. You don't, like, a lot of times people say, "Oh, I learned to play, blah 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 blah," but I think you're born.
To
It's like
play.
when,
I think
like
some people,
if
the
the
music
music,
is just in there.
exactly, and it starts to come out, and then training kicks in, and people start to notice it. My front porch where I grew up on North 36th Street in Baton Rouge was sort of like a music school. I could just sit there and play on my guitar, and people would stop by and say, "Hey, man, I play guitar. What are you playing?" And next thing you know, it would turn into them
Nice.
showing me something or whatever, until I started taking guitar lessons myself in
Yeah.
middle school, junior high school. And then I started showing them stuff, and really became interesting. you know.
So, what age did you start your first band or front your first band?
Um, I think officially I may have started my first band around 12 or 13, but I think my first gigging band, because my first band was like backyard funk.
But yeah, but
And
you could play at school stuff, and you could still that
we
still
were limited to the
counts.
backyard.
Oh.
We were limited to the backyard. In those days, parents, my father was born in the late, like, early 1900s, so by 1960, when I was born, he was 57 years old
Oh
already.
my.
Yeah,
Wow.
so he was old school. I mean, his thing was, you don't leave the backyard.
Yeah.
Whatever you got to do, you can do it in the back. So I had drums, I had guitars and all that in the garage and in the shed, and I could drag them out in the backyard. I could invite anybody over I wanted, and the
Smart
neighbors would come
man.
over and get involved. And we'd have people hanging over the fence just looking. It was wild. So my first gigs were in the backyard. So we named the band Backyard Funk.
Backyard funk. And you were 12 years old. Okay. And we were talking about there are areas, different areas in Louisiana with different strengths of type of music.
Of course.
And so you said part of it was country. And what area did
Well,
you?
what I was speaking on is there's a cultural map for
Okay.
Louisiana,
Okay.
and if you visit like the lieutenant governor's office or something like that, or if someone from that office would speak on music, they would talk about how the state is divided into corridors, and Baton Rouge is sort of like a blues capital. It's always been connected to the blues, everything from Chicago blues. People like Buddy Guy is actually from Lettsworth, which is probably 30 minutes from Baton Rouge. And he cut his teeth in Baton Rouge. When he got ready to go to a city, Baton Rouge, the first city he came to.
Wow.
The Neal family, all the Tabby Thomas, Chris Thomas King. We just have Jonathan Boogie Law. There's just a bunch of blues people here.
Yeah.
And it's always been that way, all the way back to like Arthur Guitar Kelly, Silas Hogan, Guitar Slim, they all came through Baton Rouge, and they all found their way into playing music in Baton Rouge. Slim Harpo grew up. I grew up down the street from Slim Harpo.
Wow.
You
Wow,
know,
that was okay.
my family was intermarried into his family, so we have that culture here in Baton Rouge, the whole blues culture.
Right.
Right. So New Orleans, obviously, when you think about Louis Armstrong, Pete Fountain, all the people, it's a jazz capital.
Okay.
There's jazz studies going on there 24/7. Marcellus's, people like that come from there. You have famous people come, the jazz trumpeters, like now there's people there like Kermit Ruffin and Trombone Shorty. All those are like New Orleans legends, but it's about jazz.
So if you want to play jazz, you go there. If you want to play blues, you go here.
Right, and then when you get over the Southwest corridor, like Lafayette, Opelousas, Lake Charles, now you're talking Zydeco.
Okay, all right.
And that's because of the diaspora. There are like 12 different dialects, in Louisiana. 12 different ways you could say one word. Depending on what part of the country you're from.
Wow.
So
it's really interesting when like if you're in Baton Rouge and somebody say, "Hey man, take a look at my dog. I really like him, man. He's a beautiful dog," And then a guy from, let's say, deep in Southwest Louisiana look at your dog and say, "Yeah, it's a great dog, man. Great dog."
It's
what was that? Come again?
It's also
exactly.
That's
Doug,
funny.
Doug, the dog. He's a dog, man.
Well, it probably has to do with too in Louisiana which port it's by, and you have the French speakers, and you have the.
Well, yeah, just like earlier you mentioned Cajun music, but in Louisiana, and Zydeco is separated by race and color. If it's white people, then it's going to be Cajun music. If it's black people, then it would be Zydeco.
I did not know that.
I did not. So you
have. That's a lesson.
That I didn't know.
I'm going to do some research on that. That's interesting to me.
Yeah, because you learn that living here. It's like when we say Cajun music, we're talking about, like just something that is strictly Cajun. But when we say Zydeco, we're talking about like the black players
with the
right.
We've got a couple.
The Cajun guys would do that too, but they would be singing traditional French songs with not much rhythm, just a Cajun vibe.
Right.
But Zydeco, then you might get into the African rhythm, the French rhythm mixed with the African rhythm, mixed with some Native American rhythm. It's just all kinds of blends.
Well, let me ask you, how did reggae slip in there for you?
Yeah.
Well, for me, living 70 miles from New Orleans, New Orleans has a rich culture. There's a Treme, which is one of the oldest free Black communities in this side of the world, and then you have the whole Haitian culture, the Afro-Caribbean culture, all dumped right there in New Orleans from the slave trade, from trading and entrepreneurship. And the music came with that. So reggae came right in there with the African, the Haitian, with all the other stuff. So you always hear undertones of it. Like when I was growing up, I could listen to the Neville Brothers and hear reggae. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It wouldn't be like authentic reggae that would come from, let's say Jamaica or somewhere like that, because the kind of reggae that I would do would be Louisiana reggae funk. Because we always funk everything, and we do
funk
like a mix.
up, yeah.
Right, I like it. Well, I think we should take just one look.
Just one look.
A
quick look
at some of the reggae that you've produced. And
some early reggae. That was some early reggae.
This is early, just to commemorate your roots.
Yeah. There's some young skinny Henry Turner on stage.
Skinny Henry Turner.
Wait, here we go. All right,
let's roll it.
Before he became the old fat blues man.
Okay, here we go.
Here we come.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yes, oh yeah. Run, 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 come, come. Run, 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 come, come, come. Come on, feel it, feel it. This one is about to Irish little girl. Yes, sir. I named this one Just One Look, man. 'Cause that's all it took. Now this was a beautiful girl. Oh yes. She was so pretty, and her eyes shine like gold. Let me explain this to you, man. Just one look into her beautiful eyes. Little did I know that this would hypnotize me. Sexy beauty, oh, but never, never, never like this before. What a sweet little girl, her eyes just shine like gold. Hey, and all it took was just one little child. Yeah, just one look. I said it took just one little look into this little girl's eyes. My darling, darling, just one little look. Hey, that's all it took. Whoa, whoa, oh yeah. Listen to me, man. You know you run when you find is it like this. Let me explain this thing the way it really went down, my friend. I see I met wise women. Oh, I met wise girls. But I never had a woman like this. She really rocked my world. Listen, the eyes and wisdom. Oh yes, y'all, in every way. But never, never, never have a witness when I seen her this very day. Hey, this little girl, she was so sexy, yes. And her eyes shine like gold. My Lord, what a beauty to behold. All it took was just one look at these. Oh yes, oh yeah. I said it took just one little look, my friend. That's all it took. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just one little look, yo. Oh yeah. Listen. Now this girl was sexy. Oh yeah, she was so darn sexy. She was real sexy. Oh yeah. Listen now listen, I said just one look into her beautiful eyes. Little did I know that this would hypnotize me. Whoa, yo. I had seen all kinds of sexy women. Oh yes, all over. But never, 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 never have I seen this. Like I saw this one. Just one little look, my friend. Oh yeah, that's all it took. It took just one little look. Oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah. Oh yeah, na 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 na. Na 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 na. Just one look, my friends. Let me play this thing rhythm wise.
Music Cafe.
And we're back. I'm Silver
I'm
Shells.
Cindy Jenkins.
And we are the Bling Sisters. And you are watching our live interactive chat show with guest number 109, Henry Turner Jr.
And why do you say interactive?
Interactive? Why, it's funny you should ask.
Isn't it funny?
It is. It's interactive because now we're going to read some comments.
Now, are you familiar with Barry the Fish Melton, Henry?
Barry?
Barry the Fish Melton from Woodstock.
No.
Barry Melton is watching.
So, Barry the Fish.
Barry the Fish Melton.
Don't know.
Woodstock. Yeah, you know him if you, yeah. Anyway, Crowbar says hi, sweetheart. I'll see you tomorrow.
Joshua Blue Green Crips. We're going to be doing a promotional performance with Joshua soon.
Magical.
Lupe from Mexico. We love her. She is here.
Jeff Allegria. Jeff, how's it going, man?
We have Nancy Stella. Nancy, we
love you, Nancy.
Kenneth Campbell. So proud of you, Henry Jr. You taught me what a touring musician needs to do to stay healthy on the road. Thank you. Keyboardist Kenneth Campbell, KC Funk Band.
Kathy January is watching. Hey, Kathy, how's it going? Craig Thompson, Thea Daniels, and Jeff Butler. We love you, Jeff. Those are the list
Shannon
I have.
Williams and Craig Thompson says his toes are a tapping.
Toes are a tapping.
Toes are a tapping.
All right,
Look out for Craig.
All right, now we've done our audience.
A 2-minute local spotlight.
A 2-minute.
For a local band or endeavor that is something that stood out to us. And today it is the band Kid Galaga. We saw them perform. It's a pretty big band, and they have a couple of different vocalists, and it's just great. Why don't we go ahead and watch them right now?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Hey, we're Kid Galaga coming at you from another dimension with some of the top hits from the 70s through today. All your favorite rock, alternative, new wave, and funk music. And I'm Kid Galaga. I'm a singer and a guitarist.
I'm Kid Rocket. I'm on drums.
I'm Kid Neon on keys and backup vocals.
I'm Kid Zito, known as the vocalist and ukulele player.
That's right. Kid Crester, I play guitar and vocals.
Kid Book on bass.
And together we are
Kid
Galaga. Hey,
we music, you dance.
that's right. And you'll be dancing when you come check us out. We've got a couple of dates coming up. We'll be in Santa Rosa at the fabulous Whiskey Tip. That's on April 23rd.
And we can also be found in Novato at Jerry's Downtown Barbecue on Saturday, May 8th for delicious food and some rockin' grooves.
Totally well.
That's right. So come on down. We'd love to see you. We'll see you guys later.
And don't forget, all your grooves belong to us.
Bye.
Alrighty, I think that's good.
Yeah, that's good. All right, let's play.
And we are back. It's Thursday, April 22nd, and we are doing a live interactive chat show. And we have guest number 109, Henry Turner Jr. from Louisiana. All this, I feel like I'm tripping over my tongue.
Well, we all have our days, don't we? No worries.
Yeah, I have them more than often. But anyway, now we're going to talk about
Baton Rouge.
Baton Rouge. We were
we were going to talk about your song that you wrote for the town. How did that happen?
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Well, after years of touring, I started to feel almost like after about 25 years being home, maybe 4 or 5 months a year, that I was starting to like feel like I almost didn't know Baton Rouge. I wasn't playing at home much. In the winters when I came home, I was recording and working on like personal projects and stuff, the house and things like that.
Yeah.
And so I started rediscovering Baton Rouge. And when I did that, I found a profound love for the new, what I call the new Baton Rouge for me, because I found that there was a lot of people here from a lot of different places, and it was kind of more of a transient city that I couldn't even imagine that being a transient with a lot of people coming and going. And then I started thinking we were getting ready for our like a big 200th birthday for Baton Rouge. It was coming up like in a year or so, and I was like, wow, what would be really nice if I could do something like Georgia on My Mind or some kind of really cool song that would just solidify Baton Rouge. And so I started working on it, and it took like 3 years, well, 2 years before it was like adopted and played in the Senate chambers. And, you know, we had 8 radio stations that pumped it a lot here. And then it became a big competition. Everybody wanted to write a Baton Rouge song. Some of the local media, some of the local media did contests, and next thing you know, we had like 100 Baton Rouge songs. But my song was by far the first, and so it got a lot of momentum. And we ended up getting proclamations from the lieutenant governor's office and from the mayor's office and stuff like that. So it was a great experience.
Did you
and
have
it was all out of love, you know, for the city, and just being appreciative, you know, of rediscovering my own city and saying, wow, I really like this. And in 2014, I opened a listening room here.
Yes.
So prior to that, I had been playing clubs and gigging all over town and spreading out, you know, for years and years and years. And I was tired of that. And I was just like, you know, I've had enough. You know, a lot of new club owners, a lot of new people, and people had a whole different attitude toward bands. Nobody wanted to pay bands anymore and stuff like that. So my listening room was on time, just came right on time. And we had a legendary guy by the name of Tabby Thomas that was here.
Right.
He had a great room called Tabby's Blues Box in Heritage Hall for years. And he passed away in 2014. And so I was motivated to start right then. And I was good friends with him, and he was sort of like a mentor in a lot of ways. So I dedicated my listening room to him. And it just started a whole era for me, you know, with the song, the room, you know, everything at the same time. So.
Now tell us, let's remember back to Katrina.
Oh boy.
And how it hit Baton Rouge. Tell us about what happened initially.
Well, Katrina was it was a real eye opener. It was I mean, first of all, you know, Baton Rouge and New Orleans, 70 miles apart. It's almost like you know, like you're commuting all the time. You know, it's like people just move around back and forth from Baton Rouge and New Orleans, and I had a lot of friends in New Orleans, and of course a lot of people coming in and out of my spot from New Orleans. So the day before Katrina hit New Orleans, we were there doing a music conference, and the Cutting Edge Music Conference that year. And we gotten the warnings, and everybody was like, yeah, you know, this major hurricane is coming, blah, blah, blah. Well, you were like, yeah, well, we're leaving, you know, before then anyway, whatever, because the conference was over. So we leave town, we get back to Baton Rouge, and, you know, the storm hit the next day. The eye stayed over New Orleans so long, and then it moved, and it was coming toward us, but then it went off in the opposite direction. And that was the first time I'd ever heard of centrifugal force.
Centrifugal force, yeah.
Centrifugal force, yeah. And what happened the day I woke up of the hurricane, like the next morning after, there were trees split in half like down the middle. So you could tell the pressure came down from the top and forced the tree to split open.
Oh,
Boom.
wow.
And I'd never seen that. And I lived in Hurricane Alley, you know, like all of my life. I'd never, ever seen that. So that was the day I learned what centrifugal force was and how it worked.
Wow.
And that's how much pressure it brought with it. Now, New Orleans was fine through the storm, right? And the next day that night and the next morning, I was talking to my good friends there, especially the ones who, you know, we did the conference with and all that. And we started like family. So we was talking and they said, oh, no, everything's fine. And I'm like, well, y'all guys, well, you know, a lot of wind damage, a lot of this, that, blah, 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 blah. So I didn't talk to them for a couple hours. And the next thing I knew, the news was reporting that there was a levee breach.
Oh,
in
no.
the upper Ninth Ward. And it flooded downtown New Orleans in a matter of a couple hours. And I'm talking like 20, 30, yeah, I'm talking about 20, 30 foot of water.
Yeah.
So my friends who were fine the night after the storm, all of a sudden were in desperate mode and they were all heading up to Baton Rouge. And I ended up with probably 30, 40 people.
Staying with you?
And saying we need help. You know, we're in Baton Rouge. Where do we go? What do we do? So I ended up with a whole bunch of people with me. Over a 2-week period, I probably processed 100 people through FEMA from my house.
Wow.
We processed so many people through FEMA from my house that a FEMA representative literally knocked on my door and said, is this a center or some type of emergency, you know, center or something? And I'm like, no, it's my home. He was like, well, man, you know, your URL has put so many people in our system. We just decided to come over and just see what's going on.
What the heck
And
it is.
Yeah, and at that point, you know, he said, he sat in my living room and he said, I asked him, I said, well, how serious is this, man? You know, because he was like a lead guy from FEMA and they had set up encampment in Baton Rouge. And, you know, power was still out. You know, we were like going back and forth to different places where there was power. We'd have an intermittent power sometimes and then no power. And it was crazy. So that particular day was operating from a McDonald's, you know, because they had power, they had a generator and all that. So we was over there using the internet and all that stuff. And then the guy came to the house and he said, I said, how serious is it? You know, because we can't, you know, really tell.
Right.
You know, blah, blah, blah. And he said, well, let me say it like this. He says, since the mass exodus of the Jews, we have never had this many people moving around at one time in the history of our country.
Wow.
And he said, right now, there are over 1 million people mobile from New Orleans. They're all over the country. And he said, we are trying to sort it all out. And we're trying to make sure that criminals are not mixed in with regular people.
Right.
You know, he said, so it's your worst logistical nightmare.
Well,
You know,
let's
he
take
said-
let's take a peek. Let's take a peek at a clip from your documentary,
Henry and the Great Flood.
Henry and the Great Flood. Let's.
Now that would have been the flood of 2016, probably what you're looking at.
2016.
2016, okay.
Yeah, 2016 we had the Great Flood of Baton Rouge.
Oh, when
It was
I
like a 100-year
previewed it,
flood.
I thought I heard Katrina in there.
Yeah, Katrina was mentioned in there too, and they showed some floodwaters from Katrina and different stuff. But in that, and later on in the documentary, they talk about the Great Flood. When they say the Great Flood, they're talking about the Great Flood of 2016.
Oh, the
That's
1,000-year
when,
flood.
1,000 year, okay.
Okay, well, let's roll this clip.
Bill
All
Brinkman.
2 years ago, we had an event. We had a 1,000-year flood. And we have a lot of floods here, a lot of hurricane water, a lot of everything. A lot of areas that had never been underwater before were under 10 feet of water. And this caused a lot of artists in this area, along with everyone else, to be displaced. And a lot of Henry's friends that lived in North Baton Rouge area or out in Denham Springs, in some of the lower areas, had suffered as a result of that. They lost everything.
He is a true humanitarian. His compassion absolutely amazes me. When there was a great flood for Baton Rouge in 2016. I called to try to check on him, and he was out rescuing people.
That was the 1,000-year flood, so we got 3.5 times the rain of Hurricane Katrina, and I went under like a brick. And, you know, I was rescued by the Army with my family and 7 animals, and there was no getting through. Nobody could get through to get anybody from the shelter, and all of a sudden they walked in and said, "Miss Dusty, your friend is here, your music friend." So he's there in a big van. He rescued us all and my neighbor.
I was told by someone who knows him very well that during Katrina, Mr. Turner had taken in over 60 to 80 people during the ordeal with Katrina.
We've seen the flood, of course, you know, and I mean, Baton Rouge just had its share of ups and downs in the last couple of years, but I've seen him help a lot of people, and you know, that's inspiring to anybody.
And we're back.
And we're back with guest number 109, Henry Turner Jr. And we are...
Who are you?
Thank you. I'm Silver Shells.
I'm Cindy Jenkins.
And we are
The
the
Bling
Bling
Sisters.
Sisters. And you are watching our show, The Bling Sisters Live.
Yes, you are.
.live. Just live?
Just live.
Just live. The Bling
This is
Sisters
The Bling
Live.
Sisters Live. Dot live is good for
Yeah.
the website. Because
Okay.
we are the Bling Sisters dot live, as you can see on the screen.
That's right. Bling Sisters .live.
Where's my
Which
finger
I
going?
know.
It's up
It's
here.
all backwards. I can't even tell what
Okay, well, let's
All
talk
right.
a little bit about the music business and your approach in that world, Henry. It's a little different than a lot of artists view things. And I'd like to address that because, you know, somebody could say, well, do you have the heart of a true artist if you're looking at it so pragmatically?
Well, I started as, you know, a person chasing a hit record and chasing, you know, trying to create popularity from songs and so
Right.
forth. And I did that for a good 20 years. I started with top 40 cover music. I played all the colleges in the Southeast region. I played dance clubs and discotheques and, you know, just did it all. And as I did that journey and toured through that system, I met all types of entrepreneurs. I met club owners, I met concert promoters, I met record distributors, record promoters, I met radio personalities and DJs, you know, just
Everybody.
name it. Yeah, distributors, you know, you name it. I met the gambit of people. And I started to see how, you know, the making of popularity and hits, it takes an entire team to develop and to do. Sometimes there's a lucky thing like a one-hit wonder,
Right.
but then most cases there's record machines. And what I mean by a record machine, like a group of people, like a record promoter, a producer, a performer, a studio, you know, you have to have that whole team to make that record
backup
machine work.
singers and
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, good band, you know, good concert promoter to take it and tour it after it's done and all that. Then a good radio promoter to put it on the radio and get it popular, you know, and good distributor to make sure it's there where the people can get it, you know. So it took a whole team. So I started to study what's called a music business flow chart.
Okay.
And there are music industry flow charts that exist. And it takes you from the songwriter to the consumer. It teaches you about creating creative marketing plans. It teaches you about A&R. It teaches you about production and producing and publicity, promotion. One of the most famous things I learned that I thought was really cool, somebody asked you a question, what's the difference in promotion and publicity? You know,
Okay.
the difference is publicity, someone seek you out for an ad or for an interview or for, you know, a morning show slot or something. But if you wanted to promote whatever you do on a radio station or television station, then you have to pay by advertising.
Right.
So
Okay.
that's the difference. The difference is you pay for promotion and publicity comes to you free. You know,
Okay.
but just knowing the difference between promotion and publicity leans you over into entrepreneurship, because now you're starting to understand the inner workings of the music business. The first time I got a publicist, I was told by my publicist, she said, let's be clear, there's only 3 forms of publicity. You're chasing them for exposure. They're chasing you because you become popular or a commodity.
Right.
Or damage control because you screwed up so bad. Okay. So that's the only 3 forms.
Oh my
So that's kind of how all of it works. So I kind of took away from, you know, my studies that I would rather be a music business entrepreneur as opposed to being a musician or just a writer or just a singer, songwriter, you know, and the reason being for that, because now you have the opportunity to earn across the board and to create across the board. For instance, in my market, there were a lot of soul food cooks and very few soul food restaurants.
Right.
So I created a soul food festival. So now I could bring that whole market segment together and grow it, you know, based on my entrepreneurship, because they're all scattered and they're all little bitty pieces. But when I bring them all together, they're a big unit, and they attract a huge market from across the world, you know. So that's the difference in being just a guy that's looking to chase a song and become a hit songwriter, and a guy that's looking for entrepreneurship.
Right.
For instance, you know, with songwriting,
Well,
if I write the back.
Well, you also are international, right? Your listening room, you get that out there, and you have an international audience, correct?
Right.
Instead of just a local.
Well, one of the things that's just really incredible, the first band I was ever in, Crystal Band, we recorded about probably 8 songs back in the late 1970s, like 1978. I think it was our first recording, and our first release was probably 1980, and the last one was 1983. But those songs became sought after songs in the UK. And we had one song, it was called Music, that became what they call the holy grail of Baton Rouge soul explo singles. It sold for $1,300, a little bit more than $1,300 at one point for one copy.
Wow.
45 single. So we had the opportunity. I just had a record release in 2019 in the UK on Kalita Records, and it was just reissues from the Crystal Band album, you know, which we had never really had an album. We just only released singles, but they put all of the singles together and made an album.
Nice.
Like, you know, almost 40 years later.
Like a compilation, you know.
Right, almost 40 years later, you know. So that was the beginning of my international stuff, and I just kept, you know, building on that internationally, and just kept music going to the UK every possibly opportunity I had. I would send music to the UK.
Now, well, let's go ahead and run the clip from the documentary, Henry and the Music Business.
So Henry has been the subject of 2 documentaries, correct?
Yes.
Because he's also had 2 days named Henry Turner Jr. Day, right?
That's correct.
Did you know?
Well, I'm jelly now.
Well, now you know. See, that's what's up with the music
That's pretty
business.
crazy, huh?
It is. Yeah. That's funny.
Okay, let's run this video.
All right, run the video.
All right,
do it.
Musicians in Louisiana, in particular, exhibit is a interest in how the music business actually operates, as opposed to being wishful of how they would like it to operate, or they would fantasize that it operates. Henry was interested in the actual business and the business operations.
How do you base dealing with music? Is it stuff you like, stuff you don't like? I said, oh, of course, I got to fall in love with it. If I don't fall in love with it, I don't want to promote it. He said, well, let me share this with you. He said, we can make a whole new world from the things that you don't like. Remember that. He said, now, my theory about music is
I don't care what it sounds like. I don't care who wrote it, who produced it, where it was done at, whether it was elaborate, whether it was poorly done. I have one question to the people who handle the music. Is it selling? And if it's selling, that's the business I'm in. I'm in the record and music industry. And if it's not selling, I don't care how good it sounds or who think they did what, I don't want anything to do with it. Because it's going to be a flop and it's bad for business. That was one of the most important lessons that I learned about show business. There is no show without the business.
The economic impact of the music of Louisiana, of course, in specific communities, it's a little different for everybody, but it's critical, obviously, because of our people going out and spending money to see and support the jobs that go along with the music business. So when they go to see an artist perform and they're spending money that's creating those jobs, that in the live aspect, and that's become the most critical these days. But when I was working with the Music Commission, we were looking at it from the point of view that we had to popularize the artists, because this business is it's a popularity contest.
I worked for EMI America for 5 years, so I was in the thick of it with, as I like to say, little known acts like David Bowie, Kenny Rogers, Kim Carnes, Stray Cats, Sir Cliff Richard, and I certainly learned my trade there and appreciated every minute of it. So now I'm using those skills that I have to help build Henry's career, as well as some other artists here in Louisiana that I work with.
Henry's a musician as well as a businessman. A lot of people don't know that trait. Ahead of his time on a lot of things, a lot of subject matters, and just, forever pushing the culture forward.
The advice I would give to a young person wanting to be a Henry Turner in the music business or be like me is first be true to yourself. Always understand what you need to do to focus on being you. Don't follow trends, don't get caught up in trying to sound like somebody else, trying to be like somebody else. Do what you do. There's folks jamming around.
And we're back.
And we are back with guest number 109, Henry Turner Jr., and he's in his studio, the listening room, and people are in the background playing.
Yeah, I'm in my office, and people are actually over on the listening room side jamming a little bit.
Yeah, so
my listening room normally gets started about 8 o'clock my time and goes to midnight. So they're almost an hour into just kind of sitting around jamming on stage.
So tell us.
They're eating red beans and rice, having
Oh,
a good time.
yum. I'll eat red beans and rice.
Ooh, yeah. I like jambalaya.
No.
No?
Yes?
Yes?
Of course.
I'll trust you.
I can fix you some veggie. I can fix you some veggie red beans and rice.
That would be
Ooh,
really
yeah,
wonderful.
that would be really good.
I'll do that for you.
You're so sweet. Thank you.
All right.
Well, let's talk about the listening room and how you got that started.
Yeah, and
the listening room was an interesting project. A friend of mine, Welton Chapman, the DJ locally, he had a place called Creative Unique Entertainment, and it is currently what's called my listening room. And when he was doing that, I was touring all over, just in and out everywhere. And whenever I would come home, he would always say, "Man, you need to come over and play my little place, man. You got to play my little place." And I went over and looked at it, and I was like, "Oh, no, I can't. No, man, I can't do that." Because it's like maybe holds 60 people. And it was kind of like a dive thing, and we had worked so hard to get to a certain level with the band and with the audience and the music and all that. So I was like, that would be like taking a step backwards, but I didn't want to say that.
Right.
So I told him, I said, "Man, I'll do whatever I can." I said, "But I don't know, we have to figure this out." So, when Tabby Thomas, a local music icon in the blues, Chris Thomas King's father. And Chris Thomas King is a guy that was in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, that played Tommy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, these are all like Baton Rouge guys. And Tabby played in some movies like Lonesome Sundown and stuff like that. But just legendary guys. And so he was passing away, and he had an iconic room in town. And I said, let's do a tribute to him. Let's name the room after him, and see if we could do something unique like that, and maybe it might be worthwhile doing. And we did that, and it worked. We got public NPR. Everybody came in.
Nice.
Blues writers showed up and wrote articles when it first opened, in 2014, and so we was able to launch something unique. And then I made it all original music, so you can't play any cover tunes here.
Nice. That's a great. That's
so
great
that
boundary.
changed it into only creative people will feel welcome. Other people, they just I can't play any covers, and I'm not coming over. That's fine with us, because we want only original music players and people.
There's plenty of people to help you play cover bands,
Absolutely.
but to hone your own skill,
Absolutely.
to help you
Have a
find your
place
own
to do it,
voice.
where the focus is that, so
Yeah.
that's basically the gist of the listen room. We say it is a place where tomorrow's Baton Rouge superstars will be born and made, because they can play their original music here.
I
Right.
love it. I love it, and they can
So
play with
you
other people.
You serve soul food there, right?
Soul food.
Absolutely. We
Oh,
have a soul food
absolutely.
side dish every time we open the door. Tonight is red beans and rice. Tomorrow will be all you can eat fish fry.
Excellent.
Ooh.
Now, see, I
What
go
kind
for
of
the
fish?
fry. I eat
Catfish.
fish.
It'll be different types of fish. Sometimes it's catfish, trout. It could be
I like that
you know,
sweet
like
cat.
bass
That
or-
sweet batter.
Now, you know what I can make is
What
hush
can you
puppies and
Oh,
catfish
really?
that I catch myself. Okay, I catch the big catfish.
nice.
You fillet them out, you bread them, deep fry them, make the hush puppy batter. You drop those and deep fry those. Some field peas, and you're done.
I'm going this. I'm gonna
That's an
watch
awesome
you
meal.
guys
That's a
cook
southern
off.
meal. That is a southern meal you just
I
described.
learned that in Florida.
So I
Yeah,
think
right.
we're going to be going down to Baton
Yes,
Rouge,
yes.
maybe.
We're
We're thinking the
Maybe.
Bling Sisters want to. We have become so enamored with what you're doing there. We really want to come and see.
Soul
So,
food.
is there an
I want the-
opportunity where we could perhaps
Perhaps
cover a festival
maybe there's
with music and
Absolutely.
soul food?
Absolutely.
I think we're looking at it.
we are looking at it. That'd be fun.
Mm.
The Bling Sisters have Bling will travel.
Have Bling will travel.
Have
I would love having you guys here.
Right on.
And I'm absolutely sure my community would embrace you guys.
Oh, we'd have
That's
a lot
nice.
of fun. All right, so it looks like we are winding up, winding
winding
down, probably winding down.
We're just wound.
We're yes.
So
I would get up wound.
Henry, this song is "Smile on Her Face."
Uh-oh.
Tell me a little bit about that. Now we're in Sonoma County, So
Yeah, I
this
know.
is all
Exactly.
totally.
Did I
a
forget to
kosher
say that
song.
we're in
We love
Sonoma
it.
County?
Humboldt County was where I first saw the big smile on her face,
Mm-hmm.
on a woman's face. And I figured out why it was there, a
Uh-huh.
permanent smile, Well, Smile on Her Face was about my experiences on the Oregon coast. And when I first went there, I met, I would go over and play Hemp Fest.
Oh,
And it was just so powerful, and everybody you met, every female I met had a big huge smile on their face, and they would all say, "Hey, I really want to share something with you," and they would give us something that was so nice, and and we would just we just soak it all up, and
everybody
to the
had a
point
smile on their
where
face.
One morning I woke up over right near Florence, and I was looking out over like this inlet bay, and I saw this lady I had spoken to that morning when I was sitting on the porch just playing my guitar a little bit, and she had this huge smile on her face, and she was walking toward me with a big joint in her hand. outreach to me, and she says, "Hi, good morning. You're finally out here again." I was like, "Yeah." And then so as soon as she left, I smoked some of it, and I started writing the song. She's got a smile on her face. Oh, she's got a smile. And that's how Smile on Her Face was born, right there in the North Resident. He played it at a gig the next week.
Oh my gosh, that
wonderful.
is funny.
I love this, and it's a nice video all the way around. It's very good to look at. It's very good to hear. It gives me it gave me a nice mellow feeling. I was just like, yeah, she's got a smile on her face.
And I'd like to thank our supporters for tuning in.
Absolutely.
We love you guys.
Yeah,
I want to say hi to my granddaughter. I'm almost a great grandma. It's going to happen Mondays. So we got a little great grandbaby boy coming. I'm into my second week of retirement or third.
Something to that effect.
Yeah. I'm getting used to it really fast. I can't remember. I only know it's Thursday because we have our interview today.
So Henry, what do you have to tell all the aspiring musicians out there who want to make it big
or be heard?
Well, I would like to say to them, be consistent, persistent, and study the music business, because it's a business first. No matter how passionate you are about the creativity, there is no show without the business.
Right.
That's right.
Study the business first.
All right. And so join us next week. We've got Annie Sampson coming up.
Annie Sampson. Oh, she's a wonderful Bay Area artist.
Guest number 110.
110.
So,
Nice.
woo, that's a good number. Be safe, everyone. And
Thank
happy
you, ladies.
spring.
Thank you all so much.
Thank
you, Henry,
so
for your
much.
willingness to come on. That's so nice.
I look forward to the next time.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. So we hope to see you in Baton Rouge.
You will see us.
Yeah,
in that.
we're
Absolutely.
going to work on it. We're going to
Make
work
sure it
on
happens. We have to do a GoFundMe or something. We'll make
Something.
Sure it happens.
Yes, we could do a GoFund the Blings.
Okay. Well, let's talk about that later.
Yeah.
Let's look at the smile on her face.
All right.
Mm.
Bye.
All right.
Bye, everybody. We
Bye,
love you. See
every-
you next Thursday,
Thank
6
you.
p.m.
That's right.
Bye.
Same back
Thank you,
channel.
ladies. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'd like to get everybody to stand up on this one. Come on, let's stand up. We're in New Orleans. We can stand up. She's got a smile on her face. Oh, she got a smile. She's smoking up the place. Smoking up the place. Smile on her face. Smoking up the place. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, she got a smile on her face. Oh, she got a smile. She's smoking up the place. Smoking up the place. Smile on her face. Smoking up the place. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Look out there, girl. She got the smile upon her face. Better watch that girl. She smoke out your place. Better watch your man. She got the medical card. Better watch that girl. She's broken in a yacht. She got a smile on her face. Oh, she got a smile. She's smoking out the place. Smoking out the place. Smile on her face. Smoking out the place. Yeah, man.
smoking up the place, smoking out the place. Smile on her face, smoking up the place. Yeah, man. Oh, yeah, she got a smile on her face. Oh, she got a smile, smoking up the place, smoking up the place. Smile on her face, smoking up the place. Yeah.